Hello and welcome, Shell family. We are live today with Jynet Flores.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And we're going to talk everything beyond mortgages. So, of course, we're going to get to mortgages, but we have a lot of great information to fill you in on today. And I know Jynet's going to give us a lot of great tips. But we want to let you know about a couple things that we have going on here at Shell Federal Credit Union just to kick things off. So we do have a special promotion going on right now is Picture the Possibility. So picture the possibilities with every purchase. Every purchase you make with your debit or credit card in March or April of $25 or more will enter you to win one of 6 $500 prizes. So yes, it's awesome. Just for using your card. I mean, just think of how many times you use your debit or credit card in a week.
More than what my husband would take.
right. Yeah, so that's an awesome promotion we have going on. You don't have to fill anything out or enter any certain way. Your transactions completely take care of it for you. So if you're looking for more information, visit our website or our social media for all the details.
Yep.
And we do have a special promotion coming up in April, May, or June. If you finance a mortgage, home equity line of credit, or land loan, you'll be entered to win one of 2 $1,500 prizes.
Very exciting.
Yes.
That's a lot of money.
Yes.
Yeah.
So either spend it on the house or spend it on yourself. But we're going to have that coming out. But even if you apply right now with these types of loans, real estate loans, it does take a few days or a few weeks to close. So even if you apply now, as long as your loan funds in April, May, or June, you will qualify for that Picture Your Perfect Home contest that we have going on. So
that's amazing.
Yes. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to share all of my real estate knowledge with you and with everyone.
Thank you so much. You know, y'all always bring so much great advice and tips. And, you know, when we're talking, I always think of great questions to ask you that I hope everyone else has. So we're going to get straight to it. So tell me about home equity loans to start off. Like, what is a home equity loan and why would someone want to consider getting a home equity loan?
Home equity loans are super cool. I think that whenever people hear home equity, mortgage, all of that, it's intimidating, but it really isn't.
Okay.
So I'm happy to be able to have this time with you to simplify it. A home equity loan essentially is a loan against your house. You're borrowing against the value of your home and the ownership that you have within your home. So you're using that as collateral.
Okay, so if I just purchased my home and I just started paying my mortgage like within the last year or so, would I more than likely have home equity or equity in my home?
Depending on the amount that you put down. So if you purchased your home, you only put 5% down. It's been really recent. You already had an appraisal done. It's the comparison of the value of the home and what you have percentage-wise of ownership. So if it's fairly recent, you're not going to have too much equity because you have a big lien on it. As you give payments, that your percentage of ownership is increased because the lien is a little bit down. So if you do a big down payment of 20% and the lien is only 80%, then you have some equity in the home already. 20% ownership is your equity that you have vested in that home.
So basically what I owe versus what the home's worth?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just make sure that I was understanding it correctly. So, and is there a maximum or a minimum for a home equity loan? So how much, equity do you have to have in your home in order to even qualify for a home equity loan?
So the max loan that we do is loan to value is 80%. I always like to use the 100 rule. So if it's your home is worth $100,000 and you have a loan on there, an existing lien for $60,000, we go up to 80. So you can do a $20,000 loan so that the total lien that exists is 80%.
Okay. So you multiply basically what your home is worth by 80% and then subtract what you owe. Is that a good way to put it?
It will be it will essentially just be the LTV is calculated kind of that way. It's more a division, but the way that you explained it is also a good way to do it.
So how do I even know like what my home is worth and if I have the equity and all that? Like if I'm like, okay, I want to get a home equity loan, but I don't know where to start. What's a good place to start?
So you'll go to the county website. That's, where you pay your taxes and do all of that. It will have an appraised value on there. So you can reference that and then you can multiply it like what you said. You can get that, multiply it by 80%. and that's the max lien that can be on your house. So you
Okay.
can do that, and then you can subtract the balance of the existing loan that you have, and that's how much loan you can get out.
Okay.
Because the total is 80%.
Why would someone want to even get a home equity loan?
Lots of reasons.
Okay.
It's basically, there is, the interest rates are a lot lower than what it is for a personal loan or anything like that. So why not? You have an opportunity to have a lower interest rate. And a lot of the reasons that we see that people do get home equity loans is to do, right now, a lot of student loans for
Yeah.
their kids, vacation, home renovations, things of that nature.
So the money can really be used, from what I understand, for anything. There's
Yes.
no limit. So a vacation, debt consolidation, buy a new car, whatever you want to do, basically, it's a cash loan, basically.
Yes, ma'am.
You just have
You
your
got it.
house as collateral. That's why the interest rate is lower than a personal loan.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So are there any key considerations before you would want to consider getting a home equity loan?
No, not
Not
really.
really?
No. What do you mean considerations? Just like,
Just, if you're going to be moving soon, or
timing. Yeah.
Anything.
I mean, if you're thinking of getting a loan, a home equity, just period, home
Yeah.
equity is a good place to start. Like I
Okay.
said, like I mentioned earlier, those interest rates are going to be lower. So if you have a vacation coming up and you don't essentially have the cash on hand, or maybe you have the cash on hand and you just prefer it in the bank, we do offer low competitive rates on those home equities. So why not save your money? Keep it in the bank and just borrow against it. We have those competitive rates. Get a home equity loan. They're installment, so you can pay as you go. They're fixed rate. So any time really is a good time for home equity if you're planning to use the money for anything.
Is there a minimum?
There isn't a minimum
Okay.
on that. So no, it'll be determined based, like I said, off of that loan to value and what you qualify for.
And how many home equity loans can you have either per year or at once?
So a home equity, you're going to have, just one home equity because this is for your primary home.
Okay.
And you get it. And then there is a waiting period. So after 12 months, if you decide that you want to get some more money out, this is an installment loan. So you have to wait 12 months on that for the home equity.
Okay.
There's a waiting period. And I know shortly we're going to be discussing another one of our options that we have in real estate, which is home equity lines of credit.
Right.
I'll explain some of those differences that we have there. And it's the same for home equity lines of credit for the waiting period. So once you get money for the initial loan, there's a 12-month waiting period before you can apply to get an increase or get some more cash out.
Okay. So let's say, I have $50,000 equity in my house and I do a $25,000 home equity loan, but then something happens in life and I end up needing the other $25,000. I would need to wait the 12 months, until next March or April if I'm applying now in order to get that other $25,000.
Yep, Tracy,
so
yeah,
it's better
you
to
got
get
it.
more than you need almost. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Yes. And that, I believe that's a state of Texas rule. That's not a credit union rule.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. That one home equity per 12 months. So,
Yes.
what type of factors are evaluated when a home equity loan is getting approved? I know that's just like, any other loan. We're going to look at, credit, income, your loan to value for your home. What other type of factors?
Yeah, so home equities and home equity lines of credit, there is no minimum credit score requirement.
Okay.
There isn't, not even for land loans. We really, at the credit union, look at the overall credit portfolio of a member. Our mortgages are a little bit different. We will discuss that additional real estate product that we have as well. But for home equities, home equity lines of credit, and land loans, there isn't a minimum credit score requirement. We look at the overall, portfolio of the credit, the member, that relationship that we have with you as well. How long have you been a member? All of that.
Yeah.
All of that does
Great
matter.
things.
We do take that into account. But we do look at the income. We do look at your employment history, assets, all of that. But it isn't a minimum credit score requirement where we say you have to have this or you cannot apply.
And, I love that about credit unions. We're actually looking at the whole picture of a person, not just looking at, their credit score or that number to get them approved. So that's really amazing.
I would agree. I think that's what really sets us apart from a bank.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we talked a little bit about home equity
lines of credit.
So often called HELOC.
Yes.
So tell me about HELOCs. What are they and what makes them different from a regular home equity loan?
Yeah. So a home equity loan is an installment loan.
Okay.
That one, whenever you apply for it, you're going to apply for a specific term. You get locked into your interest rate. It's the same. We have home equity first lien, second lien options. Our first lien option goes up to 30 years. Our second lien option goes up to 20 years. Home equity lines of credit is not an installment loan. It's a revolving loan. So you can think of it a little bit more like a credit card.
Okay.
So a home equity loan, it'll be installment, kind of like an automobile or your regular
monthly
mortgage.
payments.
Yes.
Okay.
And HELOCs, there are still monthly payments, but it's more like a credit card. It's revolving debt. It's just a line of credit. You're approved up to X amount.
Okay.
And it's just, it's there. The money's there for you to use or not use it on that line of credit, that quote unquote credit card, but not a credit card.
Okay, and how long is that open for, the time period where you can borrow, decide if you want to take out, X amount of money or what projects you're going to be doing? Is it open for a certain period of time or is it open endless?
It's kind of a little bit endless, kind
Okay.
of, yeah. But it, like I said, it still goes into the 12-month waiting period whenever you do want more. But it is a line of credit. It does stay open. So you do, if for some reason you want to close it out, you've already paid it all off, you do, request to have it closed out.
Okay. Are there any other differences besides having that open line of credit basically for the home equity than a regular home equity loan? So HELOC
Yes.
versus home equity.
Yeah, one of the biggest thing is going to be the interest rate. So
Okay.
fixed interest rates on home equity loans and adjustable rates for home equity line of credit.
Which one's usually lower? Depends on the market?
It depends on the
Okay.
market. It really does depend on the market. But we have awesome, our webpage is really awesome. Thank you,
Yes.
Tracy. So we have the rates posted on there. You can also access rates through your online banking. You can give us a call, all of that. So I would just say that, we stay competitive with our rates on what the market's doing and competitive with other credit unions and banks, and always check it or give us a call.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great advice. So if someone's not really sure what they need, I don't know if I need a home equity loan, home equity line of credit, if I need to do a personal loan, just come in and talk to someone or give us a call. How does that work?
So many options. So thankfully, we are member service first. So we make sure that we have all the options for our member. So you can go into a branch, ask questions, you can give us a call, you can chat with somebody online. All of it, and we welcome all of it. We know that a home buying process, whether you're refinancing, getting equity out, it is a big deal, and we understand that some of the terminology that we use,
Yes.
we use it so freely because we're so used to it, and perhaps our members they don't, and we're sensitive to that. So we always encourage them to give us a call, chat with us, or visit us at one of our branches.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier when you were talking about rates, a first lien and a second lien.
Yes.
What's the difference between those if someone's wondering?
Yeah, so a first lien is going to be, if you have a lien on it right now, say you've financed with us, you have your mortgage with us, we're in first lien position.
Okay.
A second lien is a separate lien, and you're going to have its own payment on it. So we have both options. For the first lien, you'll refinance the existing lien and just have one payment. For the second lien, it's completely separate. We have seen an increase in second liens just because back in 2020, the interest rates were so low. So a lot of people are keeping their first lien because they have that awesome interest rate, whereas right now, there's a shift in the market, not bad,
Yeah.
still good, still competitive, but they don't want to touch that first lien. So they'll get a second lien, get that cash out, but leave that first lien alone.
Okay. And if they already have their home paid off, then it would only be a first lien.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes total sense. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So flexibility, better flexibility with a home equity line of credit?
Yes, for
Okay.
sure, for sure. You're going to get that one draw with the home equity loan,
Okay.
and with a home equity line of credit, there is more flexibility for you to do a little bit more, spend as you go. Whenever you have that home equity loan, it's going to be one lump sum kind of distributed to you. And with the home equity line of credit, it's a line of credit, just like a credit card. You're approved up to $10,000. You use that $10,000 as you go. You may not use it, and then as you pay it down, you still have that line of credit available.
How does the monthly payment work with the home equity line of credit? If I, take out $10,000 and then another 15, and I'm using that line of credit, how does the payment, does it, fluctuate or differ? Is it a set payment? Because I know with the home equity loan, it's just a set payment.
Yeah, it's going to be dependent on what your balance is. And again, those interest rates are adjustable rates. So it's going to be reflected on your monthly statement every month, and really provide a clear payment requirement on there. But yes, it does fluctuate. It is different, but it's super convenient. So it's just going to depend on what type of scenario that you're in, and that loan will be tailored to your needs. So I always say one is not better than the other. It's just going to depend on your situation of what you're in, and deciding, having all of the information handed to you and explained to you, and then you decide what's best for you.
And then you can see your balance and your payments and everything through digital banking?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, very convenient.
Yes,
nice.
Very convenient.
Is the application process different with a home equity versus HELOC, or is it the same application process?
It is the same. So the application process and even just the total process is pretty much, all of it is the same. You can do it online. You can do it at one of our branches. Your application will get turned in. There is processing that goes on, underwriting that goes on. All of that is just checkpoints for us to ensure that everything is good, doing our due diligence on our end and making sure, that everything's good with your lien and that we're putting everything on there right for you to easily identify, all of that good stuff.
So I know that the mortgage process, which we'll talk about, can be a little intense.
Yes.
Is the home equity and HELOC process for application as intense, or is there certain items that I should probably have on hand if I'm going to sit down and do my application, whether it's online, over the phone, or in person? What should I bring with me or have on hand?
Yeah. So the home equity process and the home equity line of credit process is a little bit less intense, like what you mentioned, than a mortgage application process. And the big difference on that is that we're heavily regulated, by the laws, by the government and everything like that. So on the mortgage side, on the home equity and home equity lines of credit, we have a little bit more flexibility. Those are our in-house products. We do have to abide by all of the NCUA and all of that, but whenever we're talking about mortgage, we have Fannie Mae and all of those additional fun home mortgage
regulations
and regulations.
So what should I bring if I'm going to apply for a home equity or HELOC? I know I need to bring my personal information, my address. Is there anything else I need to bring with me or provide?
Yes.
Okay.
So for the application process itself, I just say, just bring your good intention. Don't be discouraged. Always apply. And then we can get the documentation from you at any time. But it is recommended that you prepare for your appointment, because some of the questions that we're going to be asking, you're going to want to reference your documentation for.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because some people will hold back from applying because they say, I don't have all this documentation.
Yeah.
We want you to apply. Yes, we want the documentation, but we want you to apply. That way we can get all of your questions answered. So some of the things, the documents that we recommend that you bring to your appointment for reference is your income documents, like your paycheck stubs, assets if they're with us, we can pull them. A lot of the county information we can pull up on our laptops, our computers, so you don't have to bring that. Homeowners insurance and mortgage statements are a big one. Okay. So that we can see what you're paying right now on your interest and
what you owe.
Give you all of the information so that you can make the best decision for you.
Okay. So it's a little bit of an easier process for the home equity and HELOC.
Yes.
Okay, good. And the closing time. So with mortgages, it's a little bit of a longer time, but with those specialty products with the home equity and HELOC, what is the closing period or application period look
It's actually quite about the same.
Okay.
30 to 45 days
Okay.
on all of them. So home equity, HELOCs, and mortgage. For mortgage, it's going to be a little bit more tense documentation-wise.
Okay.
But the process looks very, very similar.
So it's not like an auto loan or a personal loan where you can basically call and get it done the same day or next day.
No.
It does have a little bit of a I don't want to say financing period, but it has a processing period.
Yes. And then on home equities, we say home equities and home equity lines of credit, we say 30 to 45 days, but we can do them sometimes a lot sooner. So there's a 12-day disclosure that goes out. That's a lot of fun terminology there, but the soonest that we would be able to do like a home equity would be about 18 days if everything was perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
But we don't like to overpromise and underdeliver. We want to set the proper expectations for our members, so we do say 30 to 45 days just so that you can prepare.
Perfectly said.
Yes.
So thank you. Yes. Now, can you switch from a HELOC to a regular home equity, or either way? How does that work? If somebody has a HELOC, can they switch to a regular home equity and get that fixed rate? Or are you set once you're in one product, you can't?
No, you can.
Okay.
But it's just that 12-month
12-month
waiting
okay.
period. Yeah. And it used to be that once a home equity, always a home equity, you couldn't refinance it into a standard rate and term refinance, which we'll touch on. But that's not the case anymore. Then, like you said, also it's a Texas thing. I mean, we do everything a little bit different in Texas.
Yeah.
I would say better in Texas, right? So it isn't that way anymore. So if you have a home equity, you can actually convert it into a rate and term. So that is no longer the case.
Okay. So if I'm going to sell my house and I have my mortgage and then I have a home equity or a HELOC, can I still sell? How does that work?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just, the money that you get back, from your proceeds, you got to pay us back first.
Okay. Yeah. So you have to pay all your liens on your house.
Right.
So whether it's a mortgage, home equity.
And that's like anything else.
Yeah.
Whenever you're doing a car, you're doing a trade-in, you paid off a balance. Same thing with mortgage. Nothing different there.
So it's nothing to be intimidated about.
Not at all.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So let's talk about mortgage loans a little bit, since
Yeah.
we've kind of covered home equity and home equity line of credit. I know that right now we're in a different rate environment that we have been, but if someone wanted to refinance or finance a mortgage, what are some key considerations?
That it's always a good idea to start off with, you don't know until you know, right?
Okay.
The rates are different, but there is still a lot of people out there that have very high interest rates. So it's always good to be checking. Always, you want to start off with a pre-approval.
Okay. Even if for refinancing, get a pre-approval?
Well, not for refinance, but
Okay,
for purchasing.
for purchase, okay.
And it's the same thing for our land loans. You'll want to get pre-approved first, just so that you know what you qualify for, and then you have that idea of what you can shop for. So essentially, that's your budget. And, the mall on that is going to be the home buying market, a house. It's not going to be a clothing item or anything that you have, but you get to buy a real big, pretty house.
Yeah, and that, looking at the budget is so important. And Yasi talked about that a lot in our last live when we talked about with auto loans.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at your monthly payment of what you can afford. And it's more than just, how much your car is, it's how much your house is, plus all the things that go along with having a house.
Yeah.
Your insurance and, your monthly bills and all that. So it's really important to get that pre-approval and to look at the overall picture.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And for our rate and term refinances, those are different than home equities and home equity lines of credit. For our mortgage products, our interest rates will essentially be a little bit lower than those products.
Okay.
So if you're not looking to get any cash out, and you just want to lower your interest rate, or unfortunately, if you are going through a divorce or something like that, that'll be a good time to do a rate and term refinance and get that note into your name.
Okay. So if I want to do a rate and term refinance, are there any out-of-pocket or closing costs that I should be prepared for?
Yes.
Okay.
So there are closing costs associated with the loans, but we do have no closing cost options.
Okay.
We only have an origination fee that's associated. All of the other fees are your basic and standard title company fees and things like that. But as far as us and the credit union, we only have that origination fee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a perfect time to call and talk to someone and figure out what would be the best option and
Yes.
what that's looking like out of pocket.
Yes, ma'am.
So, because you could really save over the life of your loan just by doing the refinance for a different rate.
Yeah. And then for purchases, one thing that I like to mention also is that so many people get discouraged. They think that they have to pay off so many things before even applying. And that's why it's just such a good idea to do your pre-approval first, because we can provide that guidance to you and, maybe save some of that money for you so that you can go and do some fun furniture shopping or, save your money for something else. There could be debt that you don't have to pay that you think you have to pay, and it's not the case.
But don't go out and rack up a bunch of new debt. I know that.
Of course not.
Yes.
Ever with any type of loan.
Yes.
Never.
Yes.
You
So-
got to wait for that transaction to close.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So switching from a mortgage and doing a refinance, is there a certain interest rate drop that you would recommend that we look at before doing a refinance?
For sure. I mean, we provide all the information to all of our members. Of course, if you're in interest rate that is perhaps just like a 5%, and then what we have to offer right now is a 4.75, then that's not going to be very beneficial for you. So there isn't a specific amount of interest rate drop for you to do it, just because there's so many other compensating factors. Like if your value went up, or like I said, there's stuff
credit
going
change.
on. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. If whenever you initially applied, your credit wasn't so good. Now you may have an opportunity to have a better rate just because your credit has improved significantly.
Now, the loans that we already have financed here with us, and I have my mortgage, and I wanted to refinance, would I still be able to stay at this institution and refinance, or would I need to look elsewhere?
No, you can stay with
refinance
us.
our own loans. Okay,
Yes.
that's great. Wonderful news. And are there any other reasons someone would want to, refinance besides rate? I know we talked about credit, rate. If their value of their home is more than what they owe, I know I've heard of it like cash out mortgages, where you refinance and you get some cash basically out of your mortgage?
Yeah. So if it's your primary residence, it is going to be a home equity.
Okay.
But we do offer cash out on investment homes on the mortgage side. So if you do have an investment property and you want to use that and not essentially just don't touch your primary home, you're good, it's paid off, you don't want to do anything with it, then you can get a cash out refinance on an investment property.
See, there's so many options. It really is dependent on, what you have, what you're looking for, if it's your first lien or your first mortgage, if you're looking, like you said, for an investment property or a second home.
Yeah.
I know that we don't do condominiums.
We do not
and
offer,
we don't do mobile.
Right.
But we have so many options.
Yeah.
It's really great.
And it's always good. Like I said, we are all about our members. So we want to be able to help you guys, help them. And so just ask us, and we're happy to provide all of the information and tailor the loan to what your needs are.
Yeah, so even if you're a first-time home buyer,
yes,
we have options to fit those situations.
Yes, for sure. So for purchases and for first-time home buyers, we have a down payment option of as low as 3% down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What about the application process? We talked about how it was a little bit more intense. Should I have anything prepared other than, my general information? I know probably, income, personal information.
Yes.
Do I need to bring like tax statements, any other kind of information?
Yeah.
Subs?
So all of that stuff is recommended. Okay. If you fill your application online, you can fill it out, and then a loan officer will reach out to you within 24 to 48 hours and let you know what documentation is needed. It is like what you mentioned: paycheck stubs, W-2s. We want to look at your 2-year history. We want to look at your bank statements. If they're here with us, we can pull them. All of that good stuff. We do have a needs list that's referenced on the website to give you just kind of an overview of the items that will be needed. But still, don't be discouraged.
Yeah.
Apply first, and we can walk you through every single step of what documents are needed, and yeah, we will be right with you.
Yeah, I love that, because there's so many things that go into, getting your first mortgage, or any mortgage really,
Yeah.
Once you apply and get approved. But, looking at what that monthly payment's going to be, the budget, what goes into, if you want to do escrow to help with your insurance and your taxes,
Yeah.
and getting quotes for that. So it's really nice to have a credit union partner that will walk you through everything, every step of the way. And we even take appointments, right?
Right.
Okay.
And it's exactly as what you said it. We're partnering with you to walk you through every single step of the application process. If you do want to do a face-to-face for the mortgage, most of our loan officers are here in Deer Park and in Katy, but they're at all of our branches. So we can schedule those appointments at any one of our branches, and we will accommodate our members to get those applications in.
And one thing I love about the credit union is we do texting. So
Yes.
if you're at work and you're busy, or you need to send something in the evening, we have the texting capabilities and the security to send documents through the texting. And sometimes we don't want to pick up the phone and call someone and ask those awkward questions, or ask what's needed or the status. It's so nice that we have that texting option.
Yeah, that's one of our latest enhancements, and I think everybody is enjoying it. The employees and also our members. There are some members that they're busy. Everybody's busy, right?
Yeah.
It's just go, 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 and that having that nice texting option is great.
Yes, absolutely. So what's the application for mortgages, the time frame from application to closing?
Same thing.
Okay.
We say 30 to 45 days because we don't like to over-promise and under-deliver, but we can sometimes get them done a lot sooner.
And once you apply, I know that we would talk them through the series of steps, but give me just a rough estimate of a breakdown. Like what happens after you apply for a mortgage? What are the next steps after that?
Yeah. So our loan officers, you're going to start your application with a loan officer.
Okay.
There are several people that are involved in a loan, but our loan officers always do a really great job of explaining that process. So the members are not like, well, one person had my loan, now another person has my loan. So to give some insight into that, it starts off with the loan officer, and then it gets turned into our processors. So our processors will do all of the ordering of services, which is like your title work, making sure that you're buying a property that has clear title, that doesn't have anything funky on there, that, we're trying to protect you. We are protecting you, our members. And of course, just making sure it's a good, solid loan. So they order title work, appraisals, verifications of employment, underwriting. It gets turned into underwriting. Underwriting validates all of that information, and then after that, it goes to our closing team. So our closing team works with our attorneys to just put a big red bow on it,
Yes.
and they get you to your closing date, and then you have your keys in your hand.
And then they walk you through anything that you need to be prepared for as far as like getting insurance
Yes.
and how the closing works and all that.
Will provide you step-by-step explanation on everything. So if you don't understand, everybody is available and willing to help and explain.
Love it.
Yeah.
So if you have questions, you can call us, text us, or jump on our website, and we will be there to help.
Yes.
So land loans, we haven't
loans.
talked about those. What is a land loan?
A land loan is essentially a loan to purchase just unimproved property. So
Okay.
what that looks like is just like, vacant lots, vacant land, something that doesn't have a permanent structure on it.
Okay.
Those do require 20% for down payment, and the max term on those is 15 years, and they are installment loans as well.
Okay, so you already know what your monthly payment's going to be,
Yes.
but no permanent structure. So, it can't have a shed or anything on it, no
Yes.
kind of structure.
Correct.
Okay. Which a lot of people are doing nowadays. They're buying land, saving it for later in life,
Yeah.
or, preparing for retirement and paying off the land first before they decide to build on it.
Yep.
So we have a lot of interest from what I understand in our land loans.
Yes, it's definitely a growing interest, and we're excited about it. Yeah.
What's the application process for the land loan? Is that available on our website too?
Everything's going to be available on our website. All of the options, website, face-to-face, telephone appointments, all of that is available for all of the real estate products. Should be for the land loans and for home equities. The phone appointments aren't essential. It's more of the online and the face-to-face, but I know that we are always willing to accommodate anything for our members.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, for the real estate products, whether it's mortgage, the home equity line of credit, or land loans, we only finance Texas?
Yes,
Okay.
all of Texas. It's not, so I know that a lot of our members think that we only do Harris County,
Yeah.
but that's not the case. We do all of Texas. So it could be South Texas, Rio Grande, San Antonio, all of Texas.
So, if you're looking for that vacation home or
Yeah.
land loan, we
if
can
you're looking-
definitely help anywhere in Texas.
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, we don't have to go there and visit it.
No.
But we'd be happy to. So, is it better, even with a land loan, to get pre-approved for your purchase rather than just saying, hey, I found something? I mean, I know that we would still help someone if they found the land and wanted to go right into financing, but is it better to get pre-approved?
We do say that that is better,
Okay.
but it doesn't mean that that's the way that it has to happen. You can give us a call whenever you spotted something that catches your eye. Give us a call. But essentially, it is better just so that you can have that budget of, what you can look at.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Are there any other restrictions besides not having anything, any structures on the land? Are there any other restrictions that we have? Or
No,
okay.
no.
Okay. Anything else about land loans you think that we should know?
That they're great and that they're awesome, and come apply for them.
Okay. Do you have any other advice or stories that you want to share with us about any of our real estate products?
For sure. I mean, I'm full of those all of the time. Like I said, just For our Spanish speakers, for our first-time home buyers, just don't be intimidated by the process. We do want to partner with you, and it's always, you don't know until you know. So come and speak with us. We'll pull your application. And what you mentioned as well, don't go on a shopping spree while you're looking for a house. That is something that comes up sometimes often, and it's just people get excited about their new home, and they want to go and start buying things. We just ask that you don't do that until the transaction is finalized, just because it could have an impact of how much you qualify for.
Right. So even if you're refinancing your car or getting a furniture card or a Lowe's card or whatever, don't do those until you've already financed your transaction.
Correct. Or communicate with us what your plans are, just so that we can provide you the information of how it's going to impact your loan. So talk to us before you do it, or you're planning to do it, but we ask, it's preferable that you don't do it.
Absolutely. Now, if a couple is married or unmarried, are there any restrictions, or how does the loan work? I mean, do both people have to be on the mortgage or the home equity loan, or does it just a case-by-case basis? I'm sure there's rules and regulations.
Yeah, and again, here comes Texas with their special things. But for home equities, they do. If you're married, you both have to be on the application. For mortgage, you don't have to. If you're married, it could just be you. You don't want your husband on the application itself. But Texas is going to require you to list them as a non-purchasing spouse, and they will be listed on title.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. So those are great questions for people to ask about their situations also.
Correct.
To know what their options are and how to proceed. So, yes. Well, great. I'm going to look and see if we have any questions from anyone who joined us online. It doesn't look like we have any questions right now, but I know that you gave me a lot of great information. So I'm sure someone that's rewatching this will have questions. So if you do, drop them in the comments and let us know. We'd be happy to help you. And of course, you can call the credit union or text us.
Yes.
713-844-1100. Visit our website. We have all the information and the applications available online. And you can even go in digital banking and do live chat with us. So we have that available in digital banking and on our website. So we are here to help you and to make the best possible real estate purchase or lending need available to you. So let us know how we can help you.
Come see us.
Yes.
Come visit with us. Come chat with us.
Absolutely.
All of those good things. We're ready to help. We're excited to help. And we want to give you all of the information so that you can make the best decision in this journey.
Yeah. We have options. It never hurts to ask.
Of course. What's the worst that can happen?
Right? We get you in a brand new house.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But thanks, Jynet. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tracy, for having me.
Have a great evening.
Thank you.